welcome to RetroQuest, my retro video gaming podcast where my son forces me to play old video games that are basically lemmings with knights and a wizard. I'm your host, Joystick Cowboy, and with me as always, my co-host, the teenage prodigy, Sako.
I'll never get tired of that music.
Dun, 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 dun. How are you doing, Sako?
I am doing fantabulous. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing... I don't like that word, but I'm doing all right. Doing all right. I've been
that was so calming.
Out.
Like the switch up between like getting ready to record and recording, that music just like set the mood. It was so calming.
Did that segue you into a better mode?
Oh, heck yeah.
Well, there's that, I guess.
So we played... let's do housekeeping.
Let's do some housekeeping.
What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Well, for me, I've been working a hell of a lot because people suck and good help is hard to find. I run a place and when they don't show up, I got to go there, and good help is hard to find. Other than that, I have been playing some things. Let's see. Lately, just today and yesterday and a few days ago, I've been playing Ocarina of Time. The PC port remake, fucking 60 FPS. Oh my god. That game, you know what? Ocarina of Time has never been my favorite Zelda game by far. And I think the whole reason it whenever it was because of the fucking controls. They just like a lot of the stuff that the remake, it's not a remake, it's a PC port, fixes. Like I got free camera control. I got 60 frames. It's better resolution, and just that alone, just honestly, the free camera makes this feel like more of a Zelda game than it did before. It feels like I'm playing the original Legend of Zelda for some reason. I don't know. I've been playing that. Other than that, what else was I playing? Oh, I was playing some that new Resident Evil on PS5. I was playing that.
Oh yeah. Which one is that?
Is Resident Evil 4?
Oh, the remake.
Resident Evil 4. Shoot, what else have I been playing? Random stuff. Oh, I've been playing this game. That's right. I was playing something. There's something that I put a lot of hours into, and for some reason I can't think of what it is. Something I played
a lot of hours. That sounds like this game.
Since the last time we recorded, something else I played a lot of. Was it on the Switch? Fuck, what was it? PS5. I don't know. I guess it isn't in my brain.
Huh.
Yeah, that's and those video games. That's what I've been doing. What have you been doing, Sako?
Working a little bit. You'll never guess this. I got an Xbox recently.
Oh shoot, really?
Yeah.
Where'd you get that? What kind of Xbox? Like an Xbox One?
No, an Xbox, it's either an X or S. I don't know the difference. So
oh, you got an Xbox Series. That's cool.
Yeah. And it has Game Pass on it. So yeah, as you know, sweet. You gave me an Xbox, and I've been playing mostly Call of Duty Black Ops 6, especially since like I started playing it like 3 days ago. It's like been my main game.
You should definitely play Elden Ring. I got Elden Ring on there. You should play it. It's not on Game Pass. It's just on the Xbox. Yeah. And I know you've been playing a lot of Black Ops up in that motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm really grinding on this Squid Games event. And then, as I said last time, I've been playing a little bit of Red Dead Redemption 2 online. Not as much, though, because I've been grinding Black Ops so much. I've played some Minecraft, Borderlands, of course, because streaming. Half of the games I play, I stream. The other half, I don't. That's just kind of how it works. Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Since the last time we started, I've restarted my dieting and my morning exercise routine. So
yep.
Yeah. That's
I
great.
can't remember. Did you wreck your car before our last episode?
I do believe it was before last episode.
Okay.
Because our last episode was the 24th, and that was during break, and I crashed my car right before break.
Oh, yeah. Sorry to bring that up, but this motherfucker.
That was fine. I'm reminded of it every morning I look out my window. Because my window...
I'm reminded of it every morning when I get to give you a ride to school.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway, that's housekeeping. We kept some house. It was there. You got anything else to say?
No.
All right. Well, like you said, this week we played King Arthur's World for the Super Nintendo, a game I never heard of, and that's crazy that I never heard of this game. I'll do a little bit of a description of the game, and then we'll do first impressions. I'll do my first impressions, and then you can do yours. So in King Arthur's World is a Super Nintendo game where you control King Arthur. What?
Nintendo.
Did I say Super Nintendo?
Yeah.
I said Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
My bad. King Arthur is a strategy video game released in 1993 for the Super Nintendo. It was developed by Argonaut Games and published by Jalico. In King Arthur's World, you play King Arthur. At the start of each level, you have to build troops and send them on like little tasks and just try to, basically you're trying to get the gold at each level. And yeah, that's the game. The game plays a lot like Lemmings. Well, let's first do first impressions. So I never heard of this game until you mentioned it. And then I actually didn't look through this. Usually if you were going to recommend a game, I think I would have looked through the instruction booklet first, but for some reason, like I saw a picture of this game and I immediately just wanted to play it. So like I just started it up and started playing it and immediately fucking died and turned the game off and didn't play it again for like a fucking week. So a week into it, I was like, all right, well, fuck, we're going to record in like a week probably. So I turned it on. I was like, I'm going to put some serious fucking gameplay into this. So I got it. I took my time with a little bit and I passed the first training level and then the second one and then the third one. And then like I could not beat the first one that had the wizards. I could not beat that fucking shit for like a minute. And it pissed me off. So I put it down again and I was like, fuck this game. And then I picked it up a couple days later and then I proceeded to actually like really take my time and give it a chance. And then that's when I actually played up to where I couldn't play no more. But those are my first impressions. But what are your first impressions?
All right. So you have to imagine way the before times, right? I was about, I think 4 or 5-ish. This was when I first moved in to the trailer. I only had 2 consoles. I had a Super Nintendo. I also had an NES, but we didn't have any games for that at the time, so I didn't play that much. But the Super Nintendo and a PS3, which I only had Far Cry for. It was Far Cry 3 on the PS3. It was the only game I had on there. So, and I had a lot of Super Nintendo games. So, this was one of the games that I got when I got the Super Nintendo. And, I was just like trying different games. I was like 5, putting in random
We should
games.
probably preface this to say this was at a time when you actually went to go live with your mom for a little while before you came back to live with good old dad.
Oh, yeah, right? I forget that's not. So, yeah. For some reason that felt implied, but no one on here knows that.
Yeah, so you went to go stay with your mom for a while and moved in with her trailer, and she had less games that you had access to than you would have with me, let's say. So, go on.
So yeah, I was putting in random games. Yoshi's Cracker was one of the games that I played or whatever, and this was a game that there's not much like you don't have to know how to read to play this game. And if you remember,
True.
like something I've probably said a few times on this, the whole reason I know how to read is because of Fallout 3. I didn't have Fallout 3 at this point yet, so I didn't know how to read yet.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so like there's a lot of text, but you don't actually have to read it to comprehend the gameplay. So, I was in kindergarten at that point, I think. Maybe I wasn't, but I would spend most of my free time playing this game, right? If I had to go do something when I got home, I'd play this game pretty much. And it was just, I never ever got past the last training level up until the last time I played it before this one, which would have been when I was like, I think 10 or 11 back in like 2021.
So this wasn't a situation where you like played it when you were a kid and like beat the game or anything like that.
No, that would be some next level like capabilities right there. This game is really hard.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, God damn, this kid fucking played this game. And yeah, so enough of the first impressions. We can just get into the meats and potatoes, right? So
oh yeah.
So have you ever played Lemmings?
I've not. I heard you mention it the other day.
Yeah, I think I said something to you the other day and asked you if you played it. So basically, Lemmings is this game, but without the like knights and medieval shit. Like it's basically you control like these little lemmings, like these little creatures that spawn kind of like this, and they just do like the things the engineers kind of do in this game, and you're basically just trying to get across like a level to like an exit.
Yeah,
and this is the only game I've played, I think, ever on the Super Nintendo that gave me any kind of Lemmings vibes.
Yeah. I don't know what that means, but that sounds funny.
Now, let me tell you, I fucking hate Lemmings.
Oof. Oh,
like I rented Lemmings for the Super Nintendo when I was younger, and it fucking turned it the fuck off. Like within like 45 minutes, they gave it a real good try.
That bad, huh?
Yeah, like the controls sucked. It just, I don't know. Lemmings is actually like a PC game that got ported to the Super Nintendo. I heard the PC port is actually much playable because you got mouse control and shit like that. Whereas if you're playing it on the Super Nintendo, you got a D-pad that's controlling like a cursor.
That sounds painful, actually.
Yeah, I think that was the main like crux of hating it, was the controls. And this game gave me all the Lemmings vibes, except I could control it better. Like the control seemed like it wasn't trying to be a mouse. It was actually easier to control. So like this didn't turn me away from just the control scheme at first, like Lemmings did. It deterred me in whole other ways when I tried it. But we can get to that. let me ask you this, Sago. As a kid, how fucking hard was this game for you to play?
Oh God. When I first picked it up, it was really hard, but it got easier and easier the more I played it. Like I remember I eventually did beat that training stage. I only ever beat the game once up until now. But
you beat the actual game?
Yeah, when I was like 11, I beat the game. But when I usually could get up to like the third world when I was like, by the time I was like 8.
No shit.
I know, yeah. Right?
The farthest I got was honestly like, there's different biomes, right? Like each world is like a different biome.
Each world is, I don't know how it's handled. I don't know if they're like biomes or like whole different worlds. I'm not 100% sure what they are.
But they look different, right? They're like different like backdrops and stuff. So I never got past the first like medieval type looking one.
Okay, so you never got past the real world.
Yeah, like I saw like some pictures and some, not playthroughs, but just different like videos of it and stuff. I saw that there were different like worlds, basically, like different biomes. And so that's how I know I never got past the first world. Because man, and that took me like, the thing is, it wasn't that I didn't think I could do it, because I came up with some pretty cheese strats once I actually got the control down. It was just once I got to the point of when I looked at that, the last map I played, I just scrolled it with the fucking camera controls like across the whole map, like you can do. And I saw how many things I would have to do, and I was like, I can do all of this, and this is all very doable, but this is going to be real fucking tedious, and it's just going to take me a long fucking time.
And I know exactly which level you're talking about.
That's when I just noped out, and I was like, oh, okay, I know enough about this game to talk about it. I'll watch some videos, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, that's one of like the first like really long levels in the game. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, had you not emphasized how much of like a favorite game of yours this was, I would not have put as much of an effort into really trying to play this game. I would have just watched videos. Like the second time I quit, that probably would have been it. If I didn't know that how much this game meant to you, and I just wanted to experience at least a good enough portion to be able to, get a really good grasp of the game to see because after that second time I was like, what the fuck is wrong with that kid, man? Like, what does he see in this game? This game is ridiculous. Because it wasn't the controls that got me like Lemmings did. It was just like, I didn't know what the fuck was. I knew what to do and what I was doing, but at first I didn't grasp the flow of how you do things, And then I think it was the third time I played it when I got the archer, and then I realized that if you have an archer, you can basically cheese an entire level.
Yes.
Like 100%. The archer is the game winning structure. And then once I learned that, then I realized, okay, every enemy in this game I can cheese with an archer. And if there's one of those big boss characters, I'm probably gonna have a fucking wizard that I can like zap it with, and that's gonna take care of that in one hit. So like, then it didn't become oh my God, how do I do this? It's like, oh my God, I just need to plan how I'm going to do it and just wait for these little creatures to fucking walk across the fuck. And you know what? I was playing it on my little handheld, like SP knockoff. And so I can do fast forward, and I don't have my fast forward set super fast. I have it manageable. And oh my God, if I didn't have fast forward while those things, like walking a dynamite guy across the fucking like map to blow up one fucking door, and you can only have one of each type of fucking thing on the screen at once. So it's not like I could build a bunch of fucking dynamite guys.
Well, you can, but you can only have 3 at once if you use all your slots.
Oh, you can only have one.
You can have multiple of the same types.
You can just slots. Have 3 units out there at once. Yeah.
Yep.
But you're always gonna want to have at least an archer if you have archers available, because that's how you're gonna take everybody out.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you the game-winning strat in a moment when you're done saying what you're saying.
Okay, but I'm just saying, to walk those guys across the fucking map to blow a door up is goddamn tedious.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure I had my speed up running at like 4 times for most of my playthrough.
I can't imagine playing this on the Super Nintendo. You're a beast, man. You got patience. That must have took up a lot of your childhood, just waiting for those guys to walk back and forth.
It did. This is why I have so much memory of this game, because it just took so long to like do anything.
That seems very legit. I can believe that shit. But yeah, tell me, what's the game winning strat? What's the game winning strat?
So at least from my experience, from what I've learned over the years, what you want is one set of archers, and you're going to generally have them stay towards the back. And then you want a set of knights, that's going to generally be like your front men, right? So they're going to fight like anybody that's right in front of you. And then you want archers to like deal with people who have like the flingy things.
Like those are like they're like slingshots.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. And then you want to keep one slot open at all times. Like until you need to use it, you want to have one slot open, just because that's the best way you're gonna have it. Because you don't want to need something and then not have it, right? Like you don't want to need like to build a bridge, but then you have to actually send some people home, and then you have to wait for them to get back to your tent.
You know what I found? If you're patient and you have just a set of archers, you can kill every enemy in the entire map.
Yeah,
they all will eventually walk towards you. And if you just set those archers up and have them you just hold that attack button down and just wait, put on fast forward, they will all walk towards you and get hit by those arrows.
Yeah,
and then
until you get to a door at least.
Well, and then you angle it up and then you can get the guys on the top. So you always want I never have any like knights. I just have archers and an engineer, and then my slots always the bomb guy, because you constantly need fucking bomb guys. Like that's like a requisite.
So I don't know if you noticed, but instead of the bomb guys, for the most part, you're gonna have better luck using the like mechanic dudes, because they can break down doors, but they can also do like everything else. The bomb dudes, the only thing they can do is blow up the doors, or like blow up like the only thing I use the bomb dude for is the things that like the spikes that drop. If you put if you put like explosive right under there, when it when it goes down, it'll break it.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
But other than that, that's the only thing I use the dynamite for. Because especially because you get a lot of those mechanic dudes. Yeah, but you only get a few tries with the dynamite
mechanic guys. Like you have to have, I think, like 3 of them to do the to break down a door.
Yeah, like but for the most part, you can keep 3 of them at once.
Well, not if you're like if you use them for one thing. Or maybe, if you use them for like one thing, they go back. And those, even if you have the 4 mechanic guys, if you are using them for anything else besides fucking knocking down a door, then you're not gonna have enough people to knock down a door. And then once you knock down that door, they all dip.
Yeah, so, but then I guess it really
I guess it really doesn't matter. It's just it's a matter of taste, I guess. But as long as you got them arrow guys back there just constantly firing, you're good. And then I remember when I first got that wizard, like I didn't like the white wizard. I still don't know what to do with the white wizard. I'm sure at some point you would use them, good. But and even the black wizard, I only really, and I didn't, like I said, I didn't play a lot of the game, but I only really used him one time at all, for like something like that I used him for. And that was when I fought that boss, and the lightning takes him out with one hit.
Yeah.
Other than that, just arrow guys, dude. Arrow guys all day, and then engineers or bomb guys. And it's like, that's why once I realized, okay, I can cheese this whole fucking game, but it's just going to be super long and tedious. I was like, okay, I've experienced everything. Everything else is just visuals and shit like that. So I watched a little bit of videos, and I was really just curious to hear about you playing this game, because this doesn't seem like the kind of game you would like.
Yeah, I think about that all the time too. When I think about this game, I'm like, this is such a weird game for me to like, but I just maybe it is just that rose tinted glasses thing. But like, even going back and playing it for like this episode, like I really like this game. I really like this game.
And you don't think it's just nostalgia? Like you can look at it with a critical eye?
Yes. Because
let's look at it a critical eye. Let's look at some of the flaws of this game. Like, as much as I said the controls were good on this game compared to Lemmings, the controls on this game kind of fucking were hard. Even when I got a grasp for them, I still constantly found myself like pressing the wrong button, or trying to be like, oh fuck, what do I press to spawn the guy? What do I do to select the abilities? And then like switching between people. Like if I wanted to go to directly to a certain person, but then there was a person in front of them, I had to like switch between this person to that person. And then if I really had to go back to that first person, it just switched. I'm glad they only gave you certain amount of units on the screen at once. Like that was a very smart decision. At times when I was like, oh my God, I wish I just had more people on screen. That would have been so fucking hard to manage with a controller.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I actually sat down and put some time into it that I realized you could scroll the camera across the screen. Like that changed the game a lot as well. I just like wish it was easier to scroll the camera. Like if you hold the L button, it goes left. And if you hold the both of them, it freezes. But if you let go, it just goes right back to like where you were originally, right? But to go up or down, you have to freeze it and go up or down, right? So if you press let go of it, it goes right back to where you're at. So
Yeah.
I mean, it could have just it would have been much better if it would have just been like hold a button down, and then while you're holding that button down, you can use the D-pad to scroll. That would have been so much easier. I don't know why they did it the way they did it, because it's kind of dumb. Like why wouldn't you just be able to like scroll with the D-pad if you held like the L button down?
Yeah. In all my years of playing this game, actually, that's always been my biggest like crux is like, yeah, like, you know, I like the game, but it's hard to learn. Like, it's like when I say it took a lot of time for me to get like as decent at this game as I am, right? Like I've been playing this game since I was like 5. Right? Putting multiple hours into it at a time.
I could see being a kid having some time. If I had this game, I could see if I had this game at like a younger age, 9, 10, 11 years old, I would have probably played the shit out of this game. I would have learned this game because I used to learn bad. I'm just spoiled now. I played so many good games with so many good control schemes, so many indie games that, you know, figured out ways to do this right. So many just improved versions of stuff like this that I'm just kind of spoiled, I think, at this point. Had I been a kid, just when you were a kid, you just dealt with shitty control schemes. Because as a kid, you're not like, oh, this control scheme is shitty. This is just badly designed. As a kid, you're like, oh, this is complicated. I got to learn this. You know, you're all like, I gotta learn how to play this, you know. So you're not looking at it how I'm looking at it now is like the control scheme's kind of fucking bad. You could have done it better. As a kid, I would have learned it. I would have committed it to memory, and I would have got that muscle memory down like you probably do. Like to you, it's probably, now that you have that muscle memory, it's not a hard game to control. You know, after you put that kind of time into it, learn that control scheme, because that's really honestly the biggest flaw of this game in my eyes is the controls.
Yeah.
Like that's really the only fault I can find in this game. I mean, it gets really tedious. I mean, that's a different subject though. That's not really a fault because that's just the gameplay. The gameplay is meant to be that kind of every time, you know, you're going to have a obstacle course to go through, and it's just going to get bigger and bigger every time. That's just, or else it wouldn't be a fun game to play if you're into it. It'd just be, you know, of course it's got to get bigger and better as you go into the game. So that's not a knock to the game. That's just, you know, a design I didn't enjoy, you know. But as far as anything else, like the graphics in this game, I thought the graphics looked really fucking nice for a 16-bit compared to like what I remember Lemmings looking like. As far as the way they represented the characters on the screen, as little as they were, I knew what each character was. You know, I could look at it. It took me a second, but I could look at the little bitty characters. And even on the little screen I had on my the little screen I had, you see my little, the RG35XX I have, right? The little SP looking thing, it folds. Like the screen on that is not big. But even on that screen, I could tell what, you know, what units were what. And that's something to say because they are pretty small on the screen.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the graphics are really good. It amazed me. You know, the sound, it was all right. I didn't listen to a whole lot of it, but for what I did,
there's definitely some.
It was kind of mid to my point of view, but it wasn't bad. You know, maybe if I would have listened to it for as long as you had, I might have, you know, got more fondness for it, but it wasn't bad. Either. Did we lose Teenage Prodigy? Teenage Prodigy, are you muted? Did you mute your mic? You there? Hello? Well, I think the teenage prodigy may have lost the connection or muted his mic or done something. So we're going to talk about this game. Just me. I'm going to talk about what I really thought was unique about this game. And that was the fact that you could have so many units on screen doing things all at once. And maybe that's something I just don't see happening a lot with platformers because you don't get to scroll the level like you can in this, where you see all the background units just doing background things, just moving around in the background. Oh, shit. Are you back? Did you go somewhere?
Hello? Oh,
Are
hi.
you there?
Yes.
Huh.
My computer screen turned off due to inactivity, which disconnected my microphone for some reason.
That's weird. Well, we were just talking about the units on screen. We're talking about what was I saying? I was
You're
talking
talking about how they do things.
Oh. Yep, they do things. They do things. I lost my train of thought when you showed up.
I definitely do agree though with the point of view that like it's nice that like everything is kind of like doing something. You know?
Yeah, and you can scroll across the whole map and see exactly what you got in store for you, what you're gonna do, and you can see the enemies as they're coming towards you. And you can even relatively count the enemies. And sometimes they get jumbled and it's hard, but you can kind of like, okay, I got this many units I gotta get, and then I can send a guy in to get this door down, and I gotta send this, archer in here. And it's just like sometimes it's just the thought of that though, when I was thinking, oh, I gotta do all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the representation's great. Even the representation of what they are doing, like on the little menu bar, the screen that shows, okay, you got the guys that fight, and then you got the engineer guys, and they can build a bridge, or they can build like the only thing that kind of confused me is like the ladder things that they build. I don't know. They look like little huts. It's
That's
like they
what
built
I
a
always
little,
thought too.
They built like a little hut, but then you climb up the hut. Okay. I mean, sure, why not?
It reminds me of like a Fortnite wall that just looks like a bunch of wood like thrown together real quick.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought too. I was like, oh shit, it's okay. That's what we're doing.
Cranking 90s.
Oh shit. Cranking 90s.
In King Arthur's world too. It's crazy.
Did you know that they made a mobile version of this game, I think?
I did not. I did hear they were going to make a remake, like a full remake, but they never did. And that made me really sad because they started working on that in like 2020. And then I think it was COVID hit and then they abandoned the project. And that made me really sad when I heard about that.
Because of COVID. Oh, they were going to. Oh, I think I remember reading something when I was looking this game up that, yeah, they were making do a remaster. But I think I saw that they were going to make a mobile game. That's what I remember. Like, it was going to be like this, but mobile.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see if this game wasn't released for anything besides the Super Nintendo. If I would have saw this game, like if they had this like an old PC port of this on Steam or something, I would get this. If it was like, $4 or $5, I would buy this game just to try it out with a mouse and keyboard, because I think that would change drastically how much I would like this game.
Oh yeah. I think even for me,
I liked the concept of this game. I actually liked it. Like I liked the gameplay, like the 2D side scrolling real time strategy. Like I like that. That's unique. I fucking dig that. I love real time strategy. And I thought that was just cool the way they had it set up. I would play like if they had like a King Arthur's World 2, I'd play this game more if the control scheme and just the tediousness of having to use that control scheme. And I think that's more or less what it is. It isn't even the tediousness of each level, because if it was easier to control more directly, the tediousness of each level wouldn't be so, I don't know, just in my mind, just too tedious. Just too like, okay, I got to control this guy, switch back between this guy, summon it with this guy. I can't have any guys in the wings, can't have like a queue, like a building queue or anything. Yeah, I don't know. I would definitely have played the shit out of this as a kid, though.
Oh yeah, and that's what part of me part of me thought like, oh, this seems like the kind of game he would have played as a kid. Maybe he'll love this.
Yeah, like I'm telling you, like if I would have discovered this game as a kid, oh, I'd be right there with you. Like, oh fuck, this game is the shit. As it is now, I can look at it and I can see what it was, and I can actually put myself into that mind frame of a kid and be like, I could see myself sinking hours. If I would have rented this game, I probably would have hated it. And that's the thing is, the thing about this game, if I would have rented it and only had this game for a weekend, I probably wouldn't have learned it because I would have probably tried it a couple times and both times got my ass fucking kicked. You know what I mean? Like I would have put this game down immediately, never came back to it. You would have mentioned it on this show and I'm like, oh, that shitty fucking game that I play. I would have remembered it, but had I gotten this game from somebody, had somebody given me this game for some reason, and I had been forced, not been forced, but had this game, and when I had beaten all the fucking Mega Mans and the Final Fantasies, just had this game sitting there, I probably would have put it in and actually tried to play it, and it would have caught me and it would have hooked me, and I know it would have, and I would have I would have beat this game just like you did. But this is the kind of game that the rental market would have killed. Oh, and that's probably what happened to it. That's probably why this game didn't become anything more. It's the classic tale of a hard game that no one ever gets past that hard part, that learning curve. No one gets past that learning curve in a weekend most of the time.
Yeah. It's so weird thinking about this game and like thinking of like a game people couldn't comprehend because I've been comprehending it for so long,
Yeah.
It's like so weird.
Also, getting this game as a little kid, you have less of an idea of what games should be. So it's easier to mold your mind around this being something. That's why kids pick up games and attach to games that are nowadays that are less games and more experiences, like Minecraft. Minecraft is less of it's a game, but it's less of a game than an experience than say Mario Brothers.
That's fair. I will give you that actually. Yeah.
And that's why kids go towards more things because it's easier whereas an adult, you can get an adult who's always played only say Super Nintendo games his whole life, never really got past that, and that's the only kind of games he's played. Maybe he's in his 30s, and then you give him Minecraft, he'll probably get it and get into it, but he's not gonna really get it like somebody because his mind isn't ready to experience those new things like a kid is. Their mind's open and hasn't experienced the same game for 30 fucking years.
Yeah. And even nowadays too, because the market is so diverse when it comes to games, there's just so much out there too.
Yeah, like I went to go look. I was like, oh man, there's no games like this. And I went to go on Steam and I started looking at tags that had stuff like this. And I was like, oh, so this game has been. There are a lot of other games like this now.
There are?
Yeah.
What? I always thought this was like a game that was very much on its own.
Well, back then it was. But you look on Steam now, go look at 2D real time strategy.
I will
look
do
at
that.
those tags, and you'll see there's lots of games like this now, but they're not this game. They're also much more complex. I mean, look at Terraria. I mean, it's like the difference between Terraria and because this would be like my Warcraft 1. This kind of real time strategy where you only have so many units on there going after this. It's only from a 2D perspective. Just it's the same thing as whatever I was just thinking of and talking about.
Yeah. I think you said Terraria.
Well, like Terraria versus Minecraft.
Oh yeah.
It's like the difference between fucking Warcraft and this game.
Yeah, I don't know what Warcraft is, but
it's like one of the original RTS games for the PC.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know.
But yeah,
I know now.
And I like the fact that you could, for the most part, you had to follow the same path to get to the victory, but there was a little bit of fucking free play you could do in the levels. I realized sometimes if you wanted to, you could use an engine. I know the one level, if you used an engineer to build one bridge to get this guy up to this one fucking ladder, I was able to avoid a whole bunch of fucking people and just go down and unlock this other fucking door and just kill everybody.
Yeah,
Instead
there's
of
a
going
lot
through
of
like this,
there's a lot of that in this game actually.
yeah, like you can think outside the box and like cheese a bunch of fucking levels, and I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I really like how creative your strategies can get to with like a lot of like finding solutions in this game. You can get really creative with it.
Yeah,
Right, like obviously, as I said, I always go with my like main lineup of archers, knights, and then either mechanics or whatever I need to like fill in that third gap. But when I was younger, that wasn't how I played it, right? I would throw like whatever I wanted to out there, whatever looked like, oh, this seems like this might work, and I just throw it out there. And most of it didn't work, but sometimes I found some really creative solutions to problems that I would never be able to think of things like that now.
Yeah, my strat was basically just get an archer, kill everything, and then use engineers to go around and get everywhere you need to go.
Yeah.
M-bomb
The only big complaint I have with this game, and this will be the only complaint I have with it probably for the rest of time, is how slow it is.
Oh my gosh, yes. If you could
like as a kid
game naturally like speed up time by like 5, it would be so much better.
As a kid, it never bothered me, and I don't know how. Because I've played it now, especially like I haven't played it since I was like 11 or 12. And I played it now, and I'm just like wondering, God, how was like I okay with this?
You were a kid. Yeah, time flowed differently at that time.
Yeah, but like I could have put in any other game. I had like 300 games for the SNES, and I chose this one.
Yeah, but it was a good one to choose, I guess, at the time. You could have played Mega Man X and you picked this.
I didn't have Mega Man, actually.
Well, that's why you picked this. Oh yeah, but
I think this was the game that kept me interested in retro gaming like throughout a lot of my like young life, like even up till now. Because I'd revisit this game a lot up until I turned like 9, and then I stopped playing it for a little bit. But then when I was like 11 or 12, and I moved back in with my mom for the last time, I was back on the NES, the SNES, and because I was like trying to relive nostalgia or something, and I was playing this game, and I was like, this is a really fun game, and that was the first time I ever beat it, actually.
So after you went back to live with your mom when you were 9 again, that's when you beat this game?
Yeah.
Is that why you decided to go back to live with your mom? Tell me the truth.
To beat this game?
To beat this game?
Yes, it was all a quest this whole time.
I figured that was as much. There's no other reason to do it. She's poor, I'm rich. I mean, I don't see no other reasons for it.
I'm crazy.
Just joking. I'm just joking.
Crazy.
I mean, I'm not lying, but
that was an insane statement, bro.
Relatively speaking, am I lying?
No,
but you did have 300 SNES games and King Arthur's World there, right?
Yeah, I did not have those here. I still don't.
No, you
I have an emulator, so.
You just got like a fucking laptop and a desktop and a fucking PS4 and a Series
Xbox
S
Series. I can officially say I have everything though. At least everything modern. Like I have a PlayStation. I might not have a PS5.
Till the Switch 2 comes out. I can't wait for a Switch 2.
I would never buy myself a Switch 2. That's because I just don't. Yeah, I'm not surprised that you would.
Oh, I cannot wait to buy Switch 2 and mod it the fuck out.
Oh, that's so fair. I'm not even surprised.
Yeah. So you got any more to say about this game? I know you probably do. You love this game. What else you got to say about it?
Well, I love the music, actually. I think we haven't done enough appreciating the music.
Well, I mean, I didn't listen to a whole lot of music, honestly, because I mean, I only really got to the through the train. That training, God, what kind of training? Who the fuck gives you that many training levels? Like, I was like, is this whole game training levels? Like, every time I got past the training level, it was like another fucking training level. I was like,
I think there's like what 6 training levels.
Just the amount of time I put into the training levels, that could have been a full length fucking Super Nintendo game. I was like, I have put in time. But yeah, I only did the training levels and like the first like world. So I mean, I didn't realize I see a lot of the music, but the music I did, I tried out. I listened to some online too, and it was very, I'm not gonna lie, generic fantasy Super Nintendo music.
Yeah, but it has like a weird charm to it when you're playing the game. Like the music on its own isn't special, but like it's the way like when it plays, where it plays in the game is what makes it kind of like what it is.
I guess, but like you can say that for like most games like this, like it was all right. Like I'm not dogging on the music. Like I said, it's very good. It was just to me, it was very medieval Super Nintendo music.
But I also think that was probably part of the point. Because,
well, yeah,
because King Arthur isn't a real figure. That's something important that if anybody watching this doesn't know, King Arthur wasn't a real person.
No, King Arthur was a real person. He was actually a real person,
but not in relation to like this. Like there was no dude named King Arthur who led his army through like loads of goblins and you know.
I mean, there was a King Arthur who had an Excalibur sword, who raised his army during the Crusades to go fight people that we're gonna not talk anymore about this. Yeah, I mean, King Arthur was a real person.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like this King Arthur, like this isn't based off. He's not based off of that King Arthur, because I've done a lot of research. The name is inspiration, but other than that, it's his like as a character, he isn't based around him. I actually researched for this episode because I was like, is this based off of the King Arthur? Or is this just like coincidence?
Well, no, this is this King Arthur's world, like from the King Arthur video game.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is what I ended up finding out when I researched for this game.
You did all the research into this game for like a King Arthur reference to. You're like, did this actually happen? Is this based on true events?
Well, because I knew there was a real King Arthur, or at least I'd heard the name somewhere in our history class.
Like there's like all kinds of like medieval. That's like medieval, like not fairy tales, but like mythology, like European mythology is like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round and all those people. Yeah.
But I do know that there was like actual like King Arthur, so I didn't know if he was based off of like mythology or if he was based off of like the real King Arthur.
When I was younger, I read a lot of the like Canterbury Tales and stuff, so I knew a lot of that stuff already. But the music is very just mid. I mean, it didn't wow me, but it didn't sound like shit. The times I did have the music on when I was playing, I wasn't like, oh, this is garbage. I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. I'm gonna put something else on, listen to a podcast or something. listen to Retronauts or something while I'm playing this. But cool.
Yeah, it's definitely like, and it does get repetitive pretty fast. God, it gets like it's really good for the first couple hours,
especially when you're playing it. Fucking, and the whole reason is because I was fast forwarding it so much that like the music on fast forward sounded like garbage. So like I kept the volume down for most of the game because you cannot play this game on normal speed. Like you just can't. Not in 2024, man. We got shit to do. Or 2025, even more shit to do. So you can't play this game on 1X, man. No, fuck no.
No, it's way too slow.
If I was to watch a person play this game on like 1X, like through like you couldn't stream this on Twitch. Fuck no, you couldn't.
Imagine how bad a speedrun of this game would be.
Oh my god, a speedrun of this game with the right strats? Yeah, probably about a 30-hour game.
Exactly. Because there's like 26 levels excluding the training levels.
I think probably the fastest you could beat most of those levels too is like maybe 5-10 minutes. 5 minutes.
If you're lucky,
5 minutes, you're looking at hours to beat this game. Jesus Christ.
It's like the average playthrough at 1X is probably got to be like, that's like a 3-4 day thing.
It's a 24-hour stream, boys.
Because I remember I had to basically tell everybody do not touch the SNES, right? And I was writing down passwords. It took me days to beat this game when I beat it that first time.
Well, that sounds
this was the first game and only game I've ever wrote down passwords for.
Yeah, I could see this be the best game to have an emulator and save states at to actually play through the game.
Yeah. This game wasn't meant for, the 90s, but
I'm surprised that this is an original game and this is not a fucking port of something. Because this seems like when I first played this, I was like, oh, this has got to be a port of something. I got to go see what the original game looks like. And I was like, no, this is not a port. This is an original game for the Super Nintendo. Someone came up with this idea and actually pulled it off without it being a port, which is, kind of
impressive,
kind of awesome. It's kind of impressive. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess, do you have anything else to say about the game? Substantial?
I love this game.
All right. And then, what is this? A 16. This is a game. This is definitely a game. So let's put a score on this fucker. 16-bit game. We're going to give it a score out of 16. So, King Arthur's World for the Super Nintendo. What do you give this game?
I have to give it a 14. No, 15. 14.
Giving this game a 14. I thought you said this is one of your favorite games of all time. It's only getting a 14.
Well, I want to say 15, but if this game was ported to PC, it would be an instant 15, 16. But this game has enough flaws that I cannot give it a 15 or 16.
Wow, what a critical score to give one of your most favorite games that you picked. Wow, I was expecting at least a 15, possibly a 16. You surprised me.
But also, I only give one game per console a perfect score, and I'd feel bad for the first game we play on the SNES.
Well, this isn't the first game. We played Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
But I mean, going into the SNES era of our podcast.
Well, I feel like there are so many gems on the 16-bit era. That's the era. You know what I mean? I feel like if you say that you're only going to give one game a perfect score, you're going to probably go into just rating those games already, because there's going to be you can have multiple games that have a perfect score on a system, especially at Super Nintendo and Sega. That's like saying that every generation only has one perfect game, and that's just not good thinking.
No, I'm not saying that. 15s are games that would generally 15 is a game that would be a 16 if I wasn't waiting for a better game to get 16.
Okay, I mean, all right. So you're gonna give this a 14.
It wasn't necessarily that way with 7s and what?
You're solid on a 14 for this game?
Oh, a 14 isn't good. Whether or not I would have multiple perfects, this is definitely not a perfect game. I love it, and it's one of my favorite games of all time, especially from my childhood. But 14 I cannot give it higher than a 14, especially because of the time.
So what would you score it now versus what you would score it then?
Oh, then this would have been 16.
And now it's a 14?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I've played more games.
I can dig that. So for me, out of 16, I'm probably going to give this game a fucking, let's see, probably an 11. I mean,
yep.
I just, the controls, for a game like this, not being able to control it how I want to, that really made it not fun for me. Even when I really pushed through it, at no time was it ever really fun. I never really enjoyed the game. And I feel like you, had it been on a PC or maybe just a control scheme, just a few things that would tweak it to make it 100% better. Just like the Zelda game I was talking about at the beginning of the show, Ocarina of Time has probably been my least favorite Zelda game of all time. But the PC port has made it's probably, it's got to be just playing it with camera controls and 60 frames, being able to map the items better and just a few tweaks, not even because I can go ahead and put a whole bunch of changes on there with that game that you can do. You can give yourself, you can just change a lot of things, but just changing those few things makes it almost, now I feel like it might be one of my favorite Zelda games. So the controls, can drastically change a game. And that takes this game from being something that I probably really would have had some enjoyment from, to something that I really didn't find no enjoyment playing it. However, I do have to give it some credit because it did pull off something on the Super Nintendo that I never really saw, or actually even thought I would have saw. Like the only other game I really saw that reminds me of this is Lemmings, and Lemmings to me on the Super Nintendo was a garbage game. So just that I saw this kind of pull the Lemmings thing off with a little bit more mechanics thrown in, like that's impressive to me. Even if I don't enjoy the game, I can still respect that, and that's why I'm going to give it, an 11. But yeah, it's an 11 to me. It's more than mid, but not much more.
I was surprised you gave it 11, honestly. I was expecting like a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, I can respect what it's doing here because it does it all, and the controls do work for what it is, but I just think they could have been better.
Yeah,
like I could think myself of ways to improve the controls that would have made it better. And I'm not even a game designer. I'm fucking just a guy who plays old games.
I think one of my things I'm very scared of, because I'm working on a platformer, which is different from this, obviously, but side scrolling with mechanics, like side scrolling based mechanics. I'm really worried about my mechanics feeling jank. So it was kind of nice to revisit this and see what doesn't work on a 2D scale. Yeah, but
yeah. All right, well, so I guess this all we got left is our next game, which is not going to teach you how to play 2D games on a platforming games on a 2D scale. I've already picked what game we're playing next, so there is no preamble to it. We got our scores out the way for this game, which is interesting. I may come back to this game at some point. I may actually try to play it because it was interesting, and if I could just get those muscle memory down, I might try it. But anyway, the next game we're going to play is actually probably, if not my very favorite Sega Genesis game, it's at least my very second favorite Genesis game of all times, and might even be in my top 10 games of all time, depending on what day of the week you talk to me. It's going to be Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis.
I'm not surprised at all, actually, now that you say that.
Did you even know there was a Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis?
I actually did. Because I saw it one time when I was looking for Sonic.
Did you know there's a Shadowrun game for the Super Nintendo?
I did not. I never had that one. I might have had it, but I never played it.
They're both RPGs, and they do the Shadowrun thing, but they both do it pretty differently. No,
I know a thing or two about Shadowrun.
You know a thing or two about Shadowrun. Me and you, I've ran a couple Shadowrun games here at home that you've participated in, so you at least have a good understanding of Shadowrun, which is awesome. This game is the reason I even know about Shadowrun and what made me dive into the Shadowrun tabletop game when I was fucking in middle school. So yeah, we're gonna play Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis, and I want you to play this game. It is so fun. But other than that, we got what do we do at the end of the show? We say stuff, right?
Promotions. Self.
Yeah. Hey, you know what I never say? Say? If you enjoy us and you enjoy listening to us, like and subscribe us. Give us some sort of feedback, at least, a like on YouTube. I know more people listening to us on YouTube than on fucking Spotify or iTunes, which is weird because we're not a video podcast. More people listen to us on YouTube. I mean, more power to you if that's how you get down. But leave us a comment, like, subscribe. If you have a game that maybe you want us to play, you want us to try out, throw out there. I feel like I would play anything up to the PS2 era and consider that retro.
Crash Bandicoot.
I mean, maybe PS2 era we going a little far as of now. Maybe at some point, but maybe up to the PS1 era, PS1 and 64. Yeah.
What console did Resident Evil 4 come out on?
GameCube.
Oh, for some reason I thought it was later than that. Okay.
No, it originally was on the GameCube. But I say I would stick to at least N64, PS1, and older. But yeah, if anybody wants us to play a specific game, I don't care how obscure it is. I play some pretty fucking obscure games.
Yeah, we just played King Arthur's World, so
we're about to play Shadowrun for the Sega Genesis. You know, this isn't a podcast about like Super Mario World and Sonic 3 and fucking shit like that.
Probably eventually,
it
but
can be. I mean, we did play like did we play Mega Man 2?
We played one of the Mega Mans.
I think we played Mega Man 2. I mean, it is that, but for some reason, my tastes always tend to fall into the more obscure games. Now,
well, and also like the game that was like our mascot of our like podcast for a while was Echo the Dolphin.
Hey, like, Echo was pretty fucking mainstream for a long time when Echo 3 came out. It was a pack-in for the Sega Genesis.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Never mind. I thought that for some reason I thought that was like not mainstream.
No, Echo, like I think Echo 3, when they released the Sega Mark III, like it pushed it because it had like these crazy good graphics or something. But I think even the original Echo game, that game had beautiful graphics for the Sega Genesis.
It did. It really did. I love Echo.
Yeah, me too. I really like Echo the Dolphin.
I think I'm gonna go back and play Echo.
Maybe we should play Echo 3 one of these days.
Well, then we'd want to play 2 as well.
I think Echo 2, if I'm not mistaken, Echo 2 is like Echo Junior or something. It's like a kids game version of Echo.
Maybe.
I
remember there were always 3 Echo games because most of the Sega games I played, except for the ones I had like that were physical.
I think if I'm remembering correctly, it was like Echo Junior, and then Echo 3, The Tides of Time.
The Tides of Time, that's the one I played. I played Echo and then Echo Tides of Time.
Yeah, because that was like a pack-in at one point, I believe. But yeah, we're gonna play some Shadowrun, and you're gonna love it, and we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna and then we'll have a good time. Okay. Oh yeah, but that's we were doing the like thing where I was promoting myself.
Yep.
So yeah. So like and subscribe and stuff, and also I'm on Twitch and I'm on YouTube sometimes. Every once in a while I might be. And that's me. What about you? Oh yeah, I got a Linktree. Click on stuff. Yeah. Go there. It's fun. It might be. Yeah.
I have a Linktree. At the top of it right now is probably the audition form for my film, which concerns none of you because I'm assuming none of you are in the area that it takes to be a part of the film. So anything below that should interest you. My Twitch, my YouTube, Spotify, etc. Yeah, Teenage Prodigy or Socko Gaming on everything. I'm never anything else. If it's not one of those two, I'm not on there.
All right. And yeah, so that's us and that's our things. And yeah, you got anything else you want to say there, Socko?
So I know a long time ago I promised the Forgotten Savior album this 20th. Oh wait, I don't have my goodbyes in other languages.
You guys have a great time. We'll talk to you again. When we talk to you, it'll be about Shadowrun.